Chosen one, you've felt it your whole life. The way people look at you, curious yet confused, sensing something they cannot name. They can't figure you out. That mystery has always been a sign of your calling. So breathe, let the noise settle. Do you feel that quiet pull in the atmosphere? That's heaven drawing closer, thinning the veil just enough for your spirit to recognize what your eyes cannot. You didn't arrive here by accident. Every moment of hesitation, every unanswered ache, every hidden burden has brought you to this sacred point. And now the Spirit whispers, this is your unveiling. You have been misread, misunderstood, mislabeled by those who only saw your surface and never the fire beneath it. They could not discern the depth of your destiny alignment, the reason your presence unsettles those who walk without purpose, the reason some are drawn to you while others retreat from you without explanation. They do not realize that you were born marked by a divine purpose, shaped in silence for assignments most souls could never withstand. And because they do not understand you, they try to define you. But heaven has already spoken another name over you. Hear this, chosen one. You are in your breakthrough season. Not the kind you hope for someday, but the kind that begins in the invisible long before it becomes visible. Your spiritual awakening has already started. The unrest you've been feeling is not confusion. It is elevation. God is shifting the atmosphere around you, reordering what was scattered, strengthening what was weary, preparing you for abundance that has been held in reserve for such a time as this. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you a future and a hope." This is not a verse for the masses today. It is a confirmation with your name on it. You, the one they couldn't figure out. You, the one who didn't fold when pressure mounted. You, the one who kept going even when financial stability shook beneath your feet and emotional healing felt out of reach. You are the only one who could walk this path, because the anointing on your life was forged for terrains others were never meant to survive. Pause here. Breathe. Let your spirit absorb what your mind has not yet caught up to. Something holy is rising for your ears alone. Destiny is gathering around you, connecting the threads of your past, your pain, and your perseverance into a single truth. You were chosen to do what no one else in your lineage had the strength to attempt. And heaven is moving on your behalf in ways you have not seen yet. And beloved, before we go deeper, take this moment to support the message heaven is sending through your life. Subscribe, like, and share this word. Not as routine, but because when you do, you align yourself with a community of chosen ones walking toward the same rising. Your engagement becomes a declaration that you refuse to walk this journey alone, and it strengthens the flow of revelation meant for you. Stay with me. The next breath you take will carry you into territory your spirit has been waiting to enter. Chosen one, there is a reason people have never been able to figure you out. You carry a depth that does not fit into the shallow expectations of this world. You move with a rhythm that cannot be traced, and even when you feel out of place, heaven sees you walking in perfect alignment with a divine blueprint older than your bloodline. There have been days when you questioned why certain rooms felt tight around you, why certain relationships collapsed without clear explanation, why certain opportunities slipped the moment you stretched out your hand. But hear this. None of it was rejection. It was redirection, a divine shield pulling you away from pathways too small for the magnitude of your calling. Your story has never been linear. It bends through wilderness seasons, through long nights where silence pressed against your chest, through battles no one around you even knew you were fighting. And still, you rose. And still, you kept moving, not because you understood the process, but because something inside you refused to die. That inner flame, that unbroken spark, is the evidence of the anointing that rests upon you. You were born with a wealth mindset that does not collapse under pressure, a resilience heaven cultivated through trials that were meant to suffocate you, but instead forged strength that cannot be taught. Even your pain carries prophecy. Even your disappointments have been shaping you for personal transformation that others cannot imitate. If you've wondered why certain people watched you with silent confusion, why they studied you, why they felt both drawn to and intimidated by you, it is because your life contradicts their logic. They cannot map your elevation because it is not sourced from earthly influence. Your rise is spiritual. Your steps are ordered. Psalm 37:23 declares, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and chosen one. Every closed door, every strange delay, every sudden shift in your relationships has been part of that ordering." You walk under divine orchestration, and those who tried to read you as ordinary found themselves baffled by the way heaven intervenes in your path. There is still more to why they can't understand you. They do not see the spiritual awakening happening within you, the quiet expansion of clarity unfolding behind your daily thoughts. Lately, you've felt something shifting, like the ground beneath your spirit is widening, making room for abundance long overdue. You sense doors forming before they appear. You sense movement in the unseen, and though you cannot explain it, you know something sacred is approaching. This is not imagination, it is destiny alignment. You are stepping into a breakthrough season where what was once withheld begins to flow, where what was once delayed begins to accelerate, where what was once broken begins to heal with a force that feels almost supernatural. And if you've been waking heavy, feeling as though a hand has been resting on your chest, it is not oppression, it is transition. Heaven has been enlarging your capacity, stretching the places where trauma once lived, clearing out old emotional debris to make room for the restoration you prayed for. Emotional healing has been taking place even when you thought nothing was happening. God has been binding fractures deep within you, the ones you never put into words, the ones you carried quietly so others wouldn't worry. That is why you felt waves of exhaustion followed by sudden bursts of clarity. Your spirit is shedding what can't go with you into your next season. And yet, chosen one, this is only the beginning. The deeper truth is rising now, ready to reveal why your very presence unsettles some and inspires others without you ever speaking a word. You carry something ancient, something heaven placed within you long before the world tried to label you. It is the mantle you were born with, the purpose no one else in your lineage was strong enough to carry. And as this mantle activates, people around you, friends, family, strangers, begin to sense it even if they cannot name it. Chosen one, there is a reason your journey has never mirrored the paths of those around you. While others advanced by predictable steps, your life unfolded through sudden shifts, spiritual contractions, and seasons that felt like contradictions. You were never being delayed. You were being refined. Heaven was sculpting a vessel capable of carrying weight others were never designed to hold. And the truth is this: the magnitude of your calling demanded a level of isolation that would have broken the average soul. But you endured it. You walked through nights thick with unanswered questions. You survived stretches where financial stability seemed to crumble just as you thought you were gaining ground. You held yourself together through emotional deserts where comfort felt distant and your own prayers echoed back in silence. Yet even then, chosen one, you were being strengthened for elevation that does not depend on human approval. People look at your life and see resilience, but they do not understand the price of that strength. They do not know how many times you carried wounds with a steady voice, how often you pushed forward while feeling unseen, how deeply you longed for a sign that your destiny had not been forgotten. They did not witness the spiritual warfare that raged around you, the quiet battles fought in the unseen realm where heaven guarded you while you slept. That is why they cannot figure you out. Your victories do not match the storms you survived. Your peace confounds the trauma you endured. Your glow contradicts the shadows that once tried to hold you captive. And there is something else stirring, something powerful, something holy. You are entering a season where what was invisible begins to surface, where the spiritual becomes tangible. You may have felt it already, the sudden urge to detach from certain people, the instinct to withdraw from environments that once felt familiar, the quiet knowing that your spirit is outgrowing the conversations and cycles you once tolerated. This is destiny alignment. Heaven is loosening your ties to what no longer nourishes your purpose. Every time you feel that nudge to step away, it is the Spirit guiding you toward spaces designed to sustain your next level of growth. Hear this clearly. Your anointing disrupts atmospheres. People sense a weight in you that they cannot explain. Some are drawn to it because it feels like home. Others react with discomfort because your very presence exposes the places in them that remain unhealed. You were never meant to blend. You were meant to illuminate. And illumination, chosen one, always divides a room. When you walk in, the atmosphere shifts because your spirit carries authority in realms you have only just begun to understand. This is why certain individuals tried to diminish you, not because you were weak, but because you were powerful in ways they could not control. They saw glimpses of your elevation before you ever recognized it. They sensed your abundance before you had the mindset to embrace it. They perceived your destiny long before you had the language to describe it. Their attempts to confine you were never about your limitations. They were about your potential. And now, beloved, the Holy Spirit is lifting the veil from your eyes. You're beginning to recognize patterns that once kept you bound. You can feel the subtle shift in your discernment. You see through intentions faster. You sense spiritual warfare earlier. You identify counterfeit energies before they get close enough to distract you. This sharpened insight is not random. It is preparation. Heaven is equipping you for territory that requires clarity, maturity, and unshakable identity. There is a divine stirring inside you, an awakening to who you have always been beneath the layers of survival. You are remembering your purpose. You are reclaiming your power. You are stepping into a breakthrough season where restoration will not come as mere comfort, but as confirmation that God never left you in the dark. Every tear you cried in silence has become the water that now nourishes your elevation. Chosen one, there is a deeper layer to your journey that even you have not fully seen, a dimension of your story that has been unfolding beneath the surface of every challenge, every pause, every unexplained shift in your atmosphere. You have been walking through a season where heaven has been rewiring the very architecture of your inner world. And while others assumed you were merely figuring things out, what was actually happening was far more sacred. God was expanding your spiritual capacity. He was stretching the container of your purpose so that when abundance arrives, you'll have the strength and wisdom to steward it without losing yourself. This is why the pressure intensified. This is why certain relationships grew strangely uncomfortable. This is why conversations you once tolerated suddenly felt heavy. Why social circles that once felt familiar began to feel misaligned with your spirit. It wasn't burnout. It wasn't mood. It was transformation. You were outgrowing the emotional ceilings that once defined your life. Your mind was being renewed into a wealth mindset capable of holding greater influence, greater responsibility, and greater levels of spiritual authority. Your heart was being prepared to receive blessings that require maturity, resilience, and discernment. You have always carried a divine purpose, but until now, much of it lay dormant, hidden under layers of survival. You learned to adapt, to endure, to navigate storms with quiet strength, but heaven did not create you merely to survive. Heaven created you to rise. And now that rise is beginning from within, even before it becomes visible to the world around you. You may feel this as a subtle trembling in your spirit, a growing sense that something vast is approaching, something that will demand the highest, truest version of you. That feeling is not anxiety. It is awakening. And chosen one, pay attention to the people who step back from you during this time. Not everyone can breathe in the altitude God is raising you into. Some felt comfortable around you only when you were uncertain, only when you were doubting yourself, only when you were still dimming your light to make others feel at ease. But now that your clarity is increasing and your discernment is sharpening, those who relied on your confusion to feel superior no longer know how to stand near you. Your spiritual elevation exposes intentions. It reveals who was aligned with your calling and who was aligned with your vulnerability. Yet even in this, remain steady. Heaven is not removing people to isolate you, but to insulate you. Your next season requires emotional healing so complete, internal balance so firm, and spiritual grounding so deep that no counterfeit voice can sway you again. You are being protected from attachments that cannot accompany the next revelation God is preparing to place into your spirit. And as you walk through this separation, you may feel moments of loneliness, moments where the silence feels louder than before. But hear this: silence is the sanctuary where destiny speaks loudest. If you have felt as though your dreams are resurfacing, as if old visions you once buried are stirring inside you again, it is because your spirit recognizes that the fullness of time is near. What once felt distant is drawing closer. What once felt impossible is now aligning itself around you. And chosen one, if your heart feels a sudden surge of courage, even in small flashes, understand that it is heaven reassuring you that you are being prepared, not punished. You are being positioned, not delayed. And as this truth settles in your spirit, take a moment, yes, right here, to write something powerful in the comments. Leave a short declaration that rises from your core. Let your spirit speak boldly. I choose destiny. Let that affirmation echo your readiness, your willingness, your alignment with what God is unfolding. Let it become a spiritual marker in this journey. Because there is still more, much more. The next unveiling will touch the very root of why your presence shifts atmospheres and why heaven has been guarding your path with such intensity. What comes next will reveal not only your strength, but the magnitude of what you are chosen to carry. Chosen one, the deeper you move into this unfolding, the clearer it becomes that your path has never mirrored the logic of those around you, because heaven marked you with an assignment that defies ordinary patterns. There has always been a quiet distinction on your life, a spiritual signature that set you apart even before you understood why certain environments rejected you, why certain people felt uneasy in your presence, why certain doors closed the moment you approached them. You were not being denied, you were being preserved. You were being kept from stepping into spaces too small for the magnitude of what God planted inside you. For years, you've carried questions that no one around you could answer. Why do people project their insecurities onto you without cause? Why do individuals you've supported suddenly retreat when you begin to rise? Why do those who study you from a distance still fail to understand your intentions? The answer is simpler and more profound than you think. They cannot interpret what was never revealed to them. You are spiritually encrypted. Heaven wrapped your purpose in mystery, so only those assigned to your journey could discern its meaning. This is why people's perceptions of you often contradict your truth. They see your calm, but not the warfare you overcame to earn that peace. They notice your strength, but not the nights when your spirit trembled under the weight of battles no one could see. They admire your wisdom, but do not recognize it as the fruit of wounds that once cut so deep you thought you'd never recover. They see the glow of elevation, but have no understanding of the internal storms that forged it. And chosen one, if you have ever felt misunderstood even by people who claim to know you well, understand this. Revelation is reserved, not distributed. God does not allow everyone access to the blueprint of your destiny. Some were only meant to witness a chapter, not the entire scroll. That is why certain individuals tried to confine you to versions of yourself you have already outgrown. They wanted you to remain predictable, familiar, easy to categorize. But you were never meant to fit inside the limits others placed around you. Every time they tried to label you, heaven erased their assumptions and rewrote your identity with clarity they could not comprehend. You may have sensed this shift recently, the moment your spirit began rejecting conversations that once entertained you, when your heart no longer responded to chaos the same way, when your intuition sharpened to the point where you could sense the direction of a person's intentions before they ever said a word. This is spiritual maturation. This is discernment rising. This is your inner world aligning with your divine purpose. What once drained you now reveals itself instantly. What once confused you now appears transparent. You are not overthinking. You are awakening. And listen closely, beloved. Those who tried to diminish you were reacting to something they could not articulate. Your presence exposes dishonesty. Your spirit reveals motives. Your clarity disrupts the comfort of those who hoped you would remain unaware of your worth, your power, your destiny. They could not figure you out because they were never meant to. Your purpose is not for their interpretation. Your calling is not their revelation to hold. You walk in a breakthrough season that requires solitude from those who cannot grow with you. If your journey recently pushed you toward isolation, it was not abandonment, it was elevation. God has been clearing the noise around you so you can hear the sound of your own rising. He has been removing distractions so you can recognize the abundance forming beneath the surface. He has been severing draining attachments so your emotional healing can complete itself without interference. You're not losing people, you're losing chains. And chosen one, as this truth settles, let your spirit speak again. Leave a declaration in the comments, brief but blazing, with the fire of your awakening. Write, "I rise now." Let it mark your readiness for the next wave of revelation. Because what comes next will unveil the reason heaven has kept your identity concealed and your purpose protected. You're stepping into territory where spiritual authority becomes visible, where destiny alignment intensifies, where the fullness of your calling begins to take shape. Chosen one, there is a sacred truth emerging beneath every step you take, a truth that explains why your journey has carried a level of intensity others could not understand. You were never simply navigating life. You are being shaped in secret for a spiritual assignment that requires uncommon resilience, uncommon clarity, uncommon strength. Heaven has been preparing you for influence that moves far beyond your immediate circle. And because of that, your training had to be different. Your process had to be deeper. Your inner world had to be fortified in ways that would seem unreasonable to anyone who has never carried a mantle like yours. This is why your life has felt like a sequence of interruptions and divine redirections. Every detour you faced was a recalibration. Every moment of loss was a pruning. Every setback disguised itself as failure but was actually a spiritual repositioning. When others fell apart under pressure, you were being conditioned to walk through storms with an authority you did not even recognize as your own. When others cracked under emotional weight, you learned to breathe through it, not because you were stronger by nature, but because heaven infused you with endurance that did not belong to the natural world. And if you've ever wondered why the enemy targeted you so early, so relentlessly, so personally, it is because darkness recognized the magnitude of your calling before you did. The attacks were not proof of your weakness. They were prophetic indicators of your future influence. You were marked for elevation long before you learned how to pronounce the word destiny. Your gifts drew spiritual warfare, not because you were unprepared, but because heaven trusted you with battles that would become the blueprint of your authority. Even now, chosen one, your spirit has begun to feel the subtle tremors of transition. You can sense that life as you know it is expanding, stretching, rearranging itself to accommodate what God is unfolding. Your dreams have become more vivid. Your intuition has become sharper. Your discernment has become more specific. You are no longer fooled by empty words, no longer persuaded by shallow connections, no longer attracted to anything that does not honor your growth. This is the beginning of spiritual mastery. This is the emergence of your true identity. People around you feel this shift even if they cannot articulate it. Some feel inspired by your presence because they sense the light you carry. Others feel intimidated, even threatened, because your clarity exposes the illusions they have been hiding behind. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. Revelation is selective. Purpose is protected. Heaven has veiled certain parts of your identity, so only those aligned with your destiny can recognize your value. Those who cannot interpret your spirit will misread your silence, your strength, your vision, your sensitivity. They will label you according to their limitations, not your truth. But you are stepping into a season where misunderstanding will no longer bother you. You're beginning to walk with the confidence of someone who knows that not every voice deserves access to your inner world. You are learning that your peace is sacred, your purpose is non-negotiable, and your healing is a priority. You're beginning to choose yourself without apology. And this, beloved, is frightening to those who relied on your self-doubt to feel safe around you. There is a reason heaven has been elevating your sensitivity. You are stepping into spiritual environments that require discernment beyond logic. You will begin to sense motives before words are spoken. You will feel the truth behind smiles. You will know when an opportunity is divine and when it is a distraction. This is not paranoia. This is discernment refined through years of trial. Your intuition is no longer a whisper. It is a warning bell, a guide, a compass designed to protect your destiny. And chosen one, as this awakening unfolds, something powerful is happening within your emotional landscape. God is restoring the parts of you that were bruised but never fully broken, the parts that learned to love cautiously, the parts that carried responsibility too heavy for one heart, the parts that taught you how to survive but not how to receive. You are entering a season where emotional healing will no longer feel like a distant hope, but a tangible experience. You will feel peace settle where tension once lived. You will feel joy rise where numbness once lingered. You will feel light enter places you forgot existed within you. Pause for a moment and anchor this truth into your spirit. Leave a declaration in the comments that affirms the direction of your life. Write, "I claim my breakthrough." Let it be a seal upon your journey, a confirmation spoken from your own voice into the atmosphere of your destiny. Because chosen one, the next layer of this revelation is approaching, and it will illuminate why heaven guarded your life so fiercely, why certain battles happened the way they did, why you were chosen to walk a path that only a soul like yours could carry. Chosen one, the deeper heaven draws you into this unveiling, the more unmistakable it becomes that everything you have walked through was part of a spiritual architecture far greater than anything you imagined for yourself. You have been moving through a realm of preparation that did not announce itself, a quiet construction of character and calling happening beneath the surface of your daily life. And even when you thought nothing was changing, everything was shifting. God was building you from the inside out, strengthening the unseen foundations that would one day uphold your influence, your voice, your purpose. This is why certain seasons felt like they stretched endlessly, why time seemed to move differently around your life, why delays repeated themselves at the edge of every opportunity. You are not stagnant. You are being sanctified. You are not forgotten. You are being fortified. Heaven refuses to release a chosen one into destiny without first ensuring that every fracture, every wound, every lingering insecurity can no longer sabotage the promise that awaits. You are being healed so deeply that the next storm will not be able to break you. You are being refined so thoroughly that your future blessings will not overwhelm you. You were being matured spiritually to carry a mantle that demands courage, discernment, and unwavering identity. And though you did not recognize it then, your spirit was graduating while your circumstances looked unchanged. The pressure you felt was not punishment, it was enlargement. God was stretching your capacity to receive, to discern, to withstand, to influence. The emotional weight you carried, the sudden waves of introspection, the quiet pull to withdraw from the noise, these were not coincidences. These were symptoms of awakening. Your spirit was outgrowing the boundaries of the old version of you, pushing against limitations that once held you without resistance. You didn't know it, but heaven was breaking you free. Look closely at your recent days. Can you feel how your instincts have sharpened? How quickly your spirit reacts when something is misaligned? How your peace becomes unsettled around hidden motives? How conversations that once entertained you now feel like distractions? These shifts are not random. They are evidence that the veil over your discernment has been lifted. You are seeing with spiritual eyes now. You are hearing with spiritual ears. You are navigating with a maturity forged from every valley you survived. And beloved, this is precisely what confuses the people around you. They see you distancing yourself from chaos, but they do not understand that your spirit is protecting your destiny. They see you outgrowing relational patterns, but they do not grasp that your calling has raised your standards. They see you trusting your intuition more boldly, but they cannot comprehend that heaven is speaking through that intuition. They see you stepping into emotional healing, reclaiming joy, releasing burdens, and letting go of what no longer aligns. And they wonder where this strength came from. They cannot figure you out because they are only witnessing the outer shifts, not the internal resurrection that gave birth to them. There is a divine reason their understanding falls short. Heaven concealed your process to prevent interference. Your elevation required secrecy. Your rebuilding required silence. Your transformation required sacred solitude. Had others seen the full formation of your breakthrough season, they would have tried to shape it, stop it, or steal credit for what only God could do. So heaven hid you in plain sight, allowing you to move through the world as if you were still breaking, even though you were being rebuilt. Chosen one, you have felt the weight of this transformation, and heaven sees it. The nights when your thoughts spun in circles, because the life you were outgrowing no longer fit the person you were becoming. The mornings when you woke with a heaviness you could not explain, not realizing it was spiritual shedding. The moments when your heart longed for clarity, purpose, direction, yet something inside whispered for you to remain still because God was working beneath the noise. And now, as this inner shifting gains momentum, something extraordinary is happening. The atmosphere around your life is responding. Opportunities that once passed you by are circling back. Conversations that once drained you are losing their grip. Connections that once seemed insignificant now carry divine relevance. You are stepping into a period of divine rearrangement where heaven restructures your environment to match the evolution happening inside you. Pause here for a moment, chosen one. Let your spirit exhale. Let the truth settle. You are not who you used to be. And because of that, your future cannot resemble your past. As this realization rises within you, speak life into the path ahead. Leave a declaration in the comments as a seal of your spiritual maturity. Declare with power, I'm ready. Let it echo into the atmosphere of your unfolding destiny, marking your readiness for what heaven is about to reveal next. Because the next layer, oh beloved, it will show you why heaven guarded your journey so fiercely, why certain doors remained closed, and why you were the only one who could carry this calling without breaking. Chosen one, as the veil continues to lift, a greater truth begins to crystallize in the depths of your spirit. You were never just moving through life. You were being escorted through a divine sequence that others were never meant to interpret. What looked like confusion to them was precision. What looked like delay was orchestration. What looked like setbacks were actually spiritual recalibrations, positioning you for an elevation that would have crushed you had it arrived too soon. Heaven was not withholding from you. Heaven was preparing you. You may not realize it yet, but everything in your atmosphere has been shifting in response to the awakening taking place inside you. The heaviness you felt in certain environments did not come from your emotions. It came from spiritual misalignment. Your eyes began to open, your senses sharpened, your capacity stretched, and suddenly the rooms you once tolerated became too small, too noisy, too inconsistent with the identity growing within you. You didn't outgrow people because you became cold. You outgrew them because your spirit stepped into a higher frequency they could not follow. There is a reason people struggle to decipher you. You carry a quiet intensity that makes those without vision feel exposed. You walk with a purpose that unsettles those who live without intention. You move with a clarity that disrupts the comfort of those who prefer illusions over truth. They sense something in you, authority, insight, anointing, even when they cannot name it. That uncertainty makes them study you, imitate you, question you, or distance themselves from you. But none of their reactions change the truth. You are different because you were chosen for a path carved by God Himself. Every time you walked through uncertainty, heaven was watching. Every time you wrestled with cycles that didn't make sense, heaven was intervening. Every time you whispered prayers through exhaustion, heaven was answering in ways you could not yet perceive. And now, chosen one, the timing of God is catching up with your endurance. Divine purpose is aligning with your internal transformation. Your spiritual identity is merging with your earthly assignment. This is why you feel the shift so strongly, because you are stepping into the portion of your destiny where everything begins to converge. Listen closely. The version of you that survived every silent battle is not the version of you that will step into your breakthrough season. You are shedding layers of fear, doubt, hesitation, and emotional residue that were never meant to accompany you into abundance. Heaven has been stripping away the limitations you subconsciously accepted, rewriting the internal scripts that once kept you small. Your spirit is no longer willing to sit in places where your worth is questioned. Your heart is no longer willing to settle for connections that drain your light. Your mind is no longer willing to entertain narratives that contradict your divine purpose. And beloved, this internal shift is not subtle. It is seismic. It radiates through your posture, your decisions, your silence, your presence. People feel it before you speak. Opportunities respond to it before you reach for them. Even the atmosphere reacts to your movement because heaven has stamped your life with a mantle that carries spiritual weight. You are walking into a level of destiny alignment where your mere existence disrupts systems and unlocks breakthroughs. You think you are simply growing, but in truth, you are activating. There is also a reason your discernment has heightened. You are being prepared to navigate environments where your gift will attract both favor and opposition. Not everyone who praises you will be aligned with your assignment. Not everyone who smiles will carry pure intentions. Not everyone who approaches you will carry the capacity to walk with you. This next stage requires wisdom sharper than emotion, clarity deeper than assumption, sensitivity stronger than desire. Heaven is training your intuition to operate as your first line of protection. If you have felt sudden urges to withdraw, isolate, observe, or reset, this is not regression. This is refinement. You are being drawn inward so that your spirit can reconnect with the blueprint God wrote for your life. You are being reminded of who you are before the world tried to convince you otherwise. You are being called back into alignment with the identity that only heaven fully understands. And chosen one, let this truth settle into your spirit. You are never meant to blend. You are meant to shift atmospheres, break generational barriers, and carry light into places starved of clarity. You are chosen precisely because your soul could withstand the intensity of the assignment. They couldn't figure you out because they were never meant to. Only God holds the full revelation of who you are becoming. As you absorb this, leave another fire-born affirmation in the comments. Not timid, not uncertain. Declare with power, I rise beyond every limit. Let it echo into the unseen, marking your agreement with what heaven is unfolding in your life, even now. Because the next revelation, beloved, it draws nearer, and it will show you why heaven has guarded you like a treasure, and why no force, seen or unseen, has ever been able to stop what God ordained for you. Chosen one, the closer you move toward the center of your calling, the more heaven begins to reveal why your journey has carried a level of mystery. Even you struggle to understand. You are not simply living life. You are being shaped into a vessel capable of carrying spiritual weight that would overwhelm an unprepared soul. This is why God allowed your growth to unfold in phases, why your awakening came in waves rather than all at once, why your breakthroughs were preceded by seasons that stripped you of everything that could not survive your elevation. You are not being emptied, you are being cleared for divine capacity. And look at you now. Even without realizing it, you have begun to perceive the world differently. You notice subtleties you used to overlook. You hear intentions that never reach the surface. You feel shifts in atmosphere before anyone else senses them. Spiritual intelligence has been rising inside you, forming a kind of knowing that cannot be taught, only awakened. This intelligence does not come from trauma. It comes from destiny. God sharpened your spirit through situations that were meant to break you, but instead refined your discernment into a weapon darkness fears. People around you sense this change even when they cannot define it. They notice the way you enter a room with quiet authority, the way peace follows you like a shadow, the way chaos cannot cling to you the way it once did. Some admire it, some resent it, some feel drawn to you without understanding why. Others retreat because the light you carry reflects the shadows they have not yet faced. You are not polarizing because you are difficult to understand. You're polarizing because you activate something spiritual in everyone who encounters you, either their healing or their resistance. Chosen one, heaven has been highlighting patterns in your relationships for a reason. Notice how people with pure intentions feel safe around you, how they open their hearts without fear, how they find peace in your presence. Notice also how people with hidden motives become uncomfortable, how their words begin to stumble, how their energy shifts when they realize they cannot manipulate you. This is not your imagination. This is your spiritual field, identifying what your mind has not yet processed. You were designed to see beyond surface behavior. God built your intuition to function like a compass, always pulling you toward truth. That is why deceit always reveals itself to you, even if subtly. That is why dishonesty cannot survive long in your atmosphere. That is why people with fragmented intentions either shift or flee. Your presence demands authenticity. Your spirit rejects anything less. And beloved, there is something even more profound unfolding. You are entering a season where heaven will amplify your influence in ways that bypass logic and exceed natural limitations. You will begin to attract opportunities without chasing them. You will draw connections that feel divinely timed. You will witness doors open simply because you remained aligned with your purpose. This is abundance, not as money alone, but abundance as favor, clarity, direction, inner stability, everything required for the next stage of your rise. But understand this, when God increases your elevation, He simultaneously increases your protection. This is why certain people suddenly lost access to you. This is why conversations that once entertained you now feel spiritually heavy. This is why your heart no longer tolerates situations that drain your peace. It is not rejection, it is refinement. God is pruning your environment to match the magnitude of your calling. You are being insulated, not isolated. And yes, chosen one, heaven has also been healing the fractures you never voiced, the worn-out places, the tired places, the discouraged corners of your heart where hope flickered but refused to die. That quiet, emotional healing is happening in layers, softly, steadily, intentionally. You may notice moments where old triggers no longer grip you, where memories that once stung now feel distant, where fear loses its hold with a single breath. This is evidence that God is restoring you from the inside out. Pause for a moment and let your spirit absorb this. You are becoming whole in ways that will shock even you. Now, chosen one, as the atmosphere around you shifts, let your voice join what heaven is doing. Leave a short, fierce declaration in the comments, one that carries the certainty of your rising. Write, "Amen to my awakening." Let it echo through your spirit, affirming your alignment with the path unfolding before you. Because what comes next in this revelation will unveil the hidden mechanics of your calling. The reason darkness trembles when you rise, the reason heaven invests so heavily in your protection, and the reason you were chosen when so many others were passed by. Chosen one, if only you could see what heaven sees when it looks at you, you would understand why your journey has felt so turbulent, so sacred, so unexplainably set apart. You are not simply a person moving through life. You are a spiritual axis, a turning point in your bloodline, a catalyst anointed to break patterns that survived generations before you. This is why your path has been weighted with uncommon battles. This is why your soul has carried burdens that did not originate with you. This is why your heart has always felt older than your years. Heaven placed a mantle on you that required a different kind of becoming. And now, that becoming is accelerating. Look at the shifts around you, the sudden distancing of people who once clung to you, the unexpected clarity that rises in moments of silence, the new sensitivity to environments that once felt normal. These are not personality changes. These are spiritual indicators that your elevation has already begun. You are transitioning from being shaped by life to being led by destiny. Your inner world is rearranging itself to match the calling you were born to carry. The spiritual realm is moving in sync with your awakening, making room for the version of you that no longer bows to fear, no longer entertains confusion, no longer carries responsibility for the emotions of others. And, beloved, it is important you understand this. Your growth threatens the systems that once benefited from your uncertainty. People who relied on your silence now feel unsettled by your voice. People who depended on your self-doubt now feel exposed by your confidence. People who once felt safe manipulating your compassion now feel disarmed by your discernment. This is what spiritual elevation does. It reveals the truth of every connection. But notice something else. Even as certain energies fall away, new ones begin to rise. You are starting to attract individuals who carry vision, depth, purpose. People who speak to your spirit, not your wounds. You are being aligned with connections that match your new frequency. People who recognize your value without needing explanation. People who carry the maturity to walk beside you instead of weighing you down. This is destiny alignment at work, rearranging your companionship so your future is not compromised by the limitations of your past. And chosen one, heaven has been whispering to you through moments you dismissed as intuition or coincidence. The ideas that come to you in quiet hours, the sudden bursts of clarity that interrupt your thoughts, the dreams that feel heavy with meaning, the way your spirit tightens when something is wrong, even before your mind catches up. These are not random signals, these are directions. Heaven is teaching you the language of spiritual intelligence, training you to navigate a territory that will require sensitivity, obedience, and awareness beyond human reasoning. You have been noticing signs, numbers repeating, inner prompts to step away, sudden waves of peace confirming your decisions. These are the spiritual coordinates of your breakthrough season. God is synchronizing your path with divine timing, and the pressure you feel is the stretching required to carry the next dimension of your calling. But hear this clearly. Your identity has outgrown the stories that once defined you. You are not the wounded one anymore. You are not the overlooked one anymore. You are not the underestimated one anymore. You are the rising one, the one who carries resilience in your bones, revelation in your spirit, and destiny in your breath. You are stepping into a realm where your presence alone speaks louder than the voices that once tried to diminish you. And chosen one, this moment you are living through is not random. Heaven has orchestrated your awakening with precision. You are being summoned into remembrance of who you truly are, and every part of your life is beginning to echo that truth. Even now, as this message reaches you, your spirit is responding, stretching, stirring, expanding, because it recognizes the frequency of alignment. Let that recognition anchor you. Leave a declaration in the comments that marks your agreement with this rising. Speak it boldly, without hesitation. I choose purpose. Let heaven hear it. Let your spirit seal it. Let your destiny receive it. Because what is coming next in this unfolding will pierce deeper. The revelation ahead will show you why the battles were so personal, why your protection has been so intense, and why your life has always felt bigger than the places you stood. Chosen one, as this revelation draws the final breath of this stage, the atmosphere around your life is thick with divine movement. You may not see it with natural eyes, but your spirit feels it. An unmistakable pull, a gathering of destiny on the horizon, a holy momentum that refuses to let you return to who you once were. Everything inside you is shifting into alignment. Your thoughts, your desires, your boundaries, your expectations, your perception of what you deserve. This is not coincidence. This is divine preparation. For so long, you carried the weight of being misunderstood. You tried to explain your heart to people who were never meant to hold it. You tried to shrink your vision to fit into rooms too small for your calling. You tried to walk at the pace of those who never intended to rise. But chosen one, look at you now. Your spirit is no longer willing to bend to the limits of others. Heaven has been whispering too loudly. The truth inside you has become too strong. The calling on your life has become too undeniable to hide beneath politeness or self-doubt. And the truth is this: you intimidate what is unhealed. You awaken what is dormant. You activate what is divine. Your presence disrupts every false identity around you because it carries a frequency that comes from God Himself. The reason they cannot figure you out is because you were not meant to be understood by minds that never touched the spiritual realms you've survived. You were carved in fire. You were refined in wilderness. You were summoned through storms designed to sharpen your sensitivity and deepen your authority. But beloved, a new phase is unfolding now. You are approaching the threshold of your breakthrough season, where divine purpose meets divine timing. The ground beneath you is shifting, not to destabilize you, but to align you. Heaven is reordering the pieces of your life with such precision that even what once felt like loss will soon reveal itself as strategy. You are being positioned for abundance that does not just bless you, it transforms you. It redefines your direction, expands your influence, strengthens your emotional foundation, and restores every place where your heart once felt fractured. And hear this with your whole being. You are not behind. You are becoming. The slow seasons were not wasted. The silent seasons were not empty. The stretching seasons were not punishment. They were construction. Heaven was building the version of you who could handle everything you prayed for without breaking under the blessing. Chosen one, feel this. Feel how your old identity no longer fits. Feel how your spirit rejects toxicity that once felt familiar. Feel how your intuition speaks louder than fear. Feel how your peace stands guard where anxiety used to reign. This is not improvement. This is transformation. You are crossing into a territory where the false versions of you cannot follow. And before you step fully into what comes next, let your voice mark this moment. Leave a declaration in the comments. one that carries the power of a soul stepping out of limitation. Write, "I step into my calling." Let heaven hear it. Let the atmosphere shift around it. Let your future answer to it. And beloved, because we are crossing a spiritual threshold in this message, take a moment now to subscribe, like, and share this word. Not out of routine, but because when you do, you become a torch bearer, spreading revelation to other chosen ones who are awakening just as you are. Your engagement becomes a ministry. Your support becomes alignment. There is more ahead. The next part will open what has been waiting in the deep. The truth of why heaven shielded you, why your identity was concealed, and why your rise is happening now. Chosen one, now that the unveiling of your identity has begun, heaven is calling you into a deeper level of participation. Revelation without action becomes a seed left unplanted. And you, beloved, are stepping into a season where every movement you make, every decision, every boundary, every prayer, every refusal to shrink becomes a spiritual key, unlocking the next phase of your destiny. This is where your journey shifts from awakening to embodiment. Everything you have survived has prepared you for this moment. The clarity rising in your spirit is not just awareness, it is instruction. Your intuition is no longer a whisper, it is a compass. Your peace is no longer fragile, it is a shield. Your purpose is no longer distant, it is unfolding. And heaven is urging you not to stand still at the threshold of transformation, but to step fully into the life that has been waiting for you. So hear this deeply. Your next level requires participation, not performance, not perfection, participation. This is where spiritual truth becomes daily practice, where destiny becomes discipline, where calling becomes lifestyle. And chosen one, these are the steps heaven is highlighting for you now. Not rules, not pressure, but sacred actions that bring your spirit, your mind, and your path into alignment with what God has already released over your life. First, begin each day with intentional grounding. Not scrolling, not rushing, not absorbing the world's noise. Sit for a moment in stillness and say something simple yet powerful. Guide me today, Lord. This small act anchors your steps in divine alignment and reminds your spirit who is leading the way. It sets the tone for clarity instead of confusion. Second, honor your emotional space like holy ground. You cannot carry everyone anymore. That was the old you, the version who mistook exhaustion for devotion and boundaries for disloyalty. But you are awakening now. You must protect your peace with courage. If a conversation weighs your spirit down, create distance. If a relationship drains more than it restores, step back. If someone's presence brings confusion instead of clarity, trust what your discernment reveals. Third, chosen one, your environment must reflect your elevation. Heaven has been nudging you to declutter, not just physically but spiritually. Clear away what belongs to your past, items tied to painful memories, messages that keep your heart stuck, distractions that consume your time. Make room, literally and symbolically, for what God is sending next. Abundance flows more freely into open spaces. Fourth, take small, deliberate steps toward the vision burning in your spirit. Destiny does not require giant leaps. It requires obedience to the next right action. Write the idea down, start the plan, make the call, speak the affirmation, release the fear. Your breakthrough season is activated by movement. Heaven multiplies whatever you place in its hands, even if it feels small. Fifth, strengthen your relationship with the Word. You are walking into higher spiritual terrain, and Scripture becomes both your map and your armor. Verses like Isaiah 43:19 and Philippians 4:13 are not just encouragement. They are prophetic anchors, reminders that God is both guiding and empowering you. Sixth, chosen one, learn to listen to the stillness. The most accurate instructions often arrive without volume. Your spirit already knows when God is redirecting you. Trust the tightening in your chest. Trust the sudden unease. Trust the unexplainable peace. These are not emotions, they are signals. And finally, speak life over your path. Words create momentum in the spirit. Wake up declaring, "I walk in purpose today." Speak over your finances, your relationships, your mind, your gifts. A wealth mindset is not about money. It is about believing you are equipped, deserving, empowered, and supported by heaven's resources. Chosen one, let these steps soak into the deepest parts of you. They are not tasks. They are activations. They are how you align with the destiny that has been calling your name since before you were formed. And before we continue, take a moment to anchor your spirit. Leave a short declaration in the comments. Let it be bold. Let it be alive. I activate my purpose. Your next steps carry power, and heaven is watching with anticipation. Chosen one, now that the first movements of alignment have begun within you, heaven is inviting you into an even deeper, more intentional rhythm. This phase is not passive. This is where you begin to walk your revelation, where every choice becomes a spiritual declaration and every action becomes a seed that shapes the landscape of your future. And make no mistake, the shift happening inside you right now is not small. It is foundational. It is architectural. It is the restructuring of your entire inner world so that divine purpose can take full residence. Hear this with clarity. Transformation becomes permanent when you begin to live differently. Not louder, not harder, not faster. Differently, with intention, with awareness, with a heart that refuses to go back to patterns that once sabotaged your destiny. This is where heaven begins to train you in the art of spiritual stewardship. Chosen one of the most powerful steps you can take right now is protecting your mind as if it was sacred territory. Because it is. Your thoughts are the soil where destiny grows, or where doubt takes root. Start filtering what you allow into your mental space. Not every voice earns the right to influence you. Not every platform deserves your attention. Not every story deserves your emotional investment. When a thought enters that contradicts the identity God is building in you, don't negotiate with it. Replace it. Speak truth aloud until your atmosphere bends to it. And pay attention to this next part, beloved. Your daily habits are prophetic. The small things you do without thinking are shaping the person you become. Heaven is calling you to upgrade your patterns. Wake with purpose. Create structure in your days. Give your energy assignments. Choose nourishment over numbness, clarity over chaos, discipline over delay. You are not just trying to survive your days anymore. You're shaping a future that requires strength and readiness. There is also a calling on your life now to strengthen your spiritual gates. These gates are the entrances to your heart, your mind, your emotions. They must be guarded with wisdom. Pay attention to who drains you. Pay attention to what disrupts your peace. Pay attention to the moments when your spirit tightens. These are warnings, not inconveniences. Your peace is prophetic. When peace withdraws, heaven is signaling that something is out of alignment. And chosen one, begin practicing this daily. When you feel overwhelmed, whisper, "Holy Spirit, steady me." When fear tries to rise, whisper, "God is here." When confusion clouds your steps, whisper, "Order my path." These simple phrases reset your atmosphere and realign your spirit. Another crucial step in your elevation is learning to move even when clarity feels incomplete. God rarely reveals the whole map. He gives steps, not blueprints. If you wait for perfect certainty, you will delay miracles meant for this season. When your spirit nudges you, move. When your heart feels pulled toward a new direction, explore it. When an idea keeps returning, write it down and begin building. Heaven multiplies movement. Action activates anointing. And chosen one, You must begin to treat your life as something holy. That means releasing what cannot go with you. Release the guilt that never belonged to you. Release the fear you inherited. Release the version of yourself that tolerated crumbs when you were called to carry abundance. Your elevation requires emotional healing so deep that old wounds can no longer speak louder than your purpose. Feel this truth settling in your chest. You deserve to be whole. Not halfway healed, not temporarily stable. Whole. Heaven is restoring your stability, strengthening your confidence, and rebuilding your inner foundation so that when blessings arrive, they do not overwhelm you, they empower you. And chosen one, before this segment continues its ascent, pause here and make your voice part of your transformation. Write a declaration below that stamps your